At our family BBQ, my mom looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you disappeared tomorrow, no one would even notice." Everyone laughed except me. I quietly raised my hot dog and said, "Challenge accepted." That night I vanished, Prat 4. But I wasn't bitter anymore. I was better. The envelope was burgundy, thicker than the others. Inside was a formal invitation printed in cursive gold. "You're invited to Dad's 60th birthday celebration. The family hopes you'll join us. No pressure, just love." It came with a handwritten note from my sister. "Jade, I know we don't deserve it, but we'd like the chance to try. Please just come." I stared at it for days. It sat on my nightstand, unmoved, like a question I wasn't ready to answer. I didn't owe them anything. Not a return. Not a smile. Not my presence. But still a voice deep inside whispered, "You're not going back for them. You're going back for you, to see it, to face it. To stand in the same space where I had once been erased. Not as the broken girl holding a paper plate, but as the woman who walked away, and built a life no one handed her." So I went. Not to belong, but to witness. I wore soft cream linen, a dress I bought for myself with the first client bonus check I ever earned. Minimal makeup, simple earrings. A quiet confidence that couldn't be borrowed, or bought. When I walked through the door, everything slowed. Laughter dimmed. Drinks paused mid-pour. A fork clinked against a plate. There were about 30 people, and every single one of them turned to look at me like I was someone they'd only ever seen in stories. Because I was. I was myth and consequence and memory walking on 2 feet. My mother blinked first. She opened her mouth, but said nothing. My dad stood and smiled softly, eyes damp. My sister stepped forward. She didn't try to hug me. She just said, "Thank you for coming." I nodded. Not in forgiveness. Not in permission. Just acknowledgement. I sat at the edge of the party watching. I didn't offer to help. Didn't pick up trash, didn't refill drinks. They noticed. Because this time, I didn't disappear into the background. I didn't earn my place, I occupied it. Aunt Rachel came over. "You look different," she said. "I am," I replied, sipping my drink. Cousin James tried to crack a joke. It fell flat. Everything they used to mock in me, my silence, my slowness, my stillness, now made them nervous, because I wasn't small anymore. I wasn't desperate. I wasn't theirs. After dinner, my mom stood up, glass it up, a toast. But this time, her voice wavered. She looked at me, then back at the room. "I want to say something," she said. Eyes glossy, to Jade. People shifted in their chairs. I was wrong. I was cruel. And I didn't realize how much of our family's strength lived inside the daughter I treated like an afterthought. Silence. Then, "I didn't just lose you when you walked away. I lost myself. Because you were the one keeping us from falling apart." She swallowed hard. "I'm sorry. I can't erase it. But I see you now." I stood, calm. I didn't cry, didn't gloat, didn't perform. Just looked around the room, at the faces that had once laughed, and said, "You said no one would notice if I disappeared. But when I did, this entire family cracked. I was never the craplum. I was the pattern breaker." Then I set my glass down. And I left. This time, I didn't vanish. I just chose not to stay. I didn't wait for dessert. I didn't stay for hugs, or tears, or more apologies. I walked out the door just as the string lights began to flicker on. This time no one laughed. No one said a word. And I didn't look back. Back at Lookar. I sat for a moment in the quiet. Engine off. Fingers resting on the wheel. Then I opened the note my dad had slipped into my purse on my way out. "We failed you. And I don't know if we'll ever deserve a second chance. But thank you for being strong enough to walk away, so we could finally wake up." I folded it slowly, and tucked it into my glove box next to my registration. Because now I was registered to myself. The next morning, I returned home. To the lavender walls, the humming garden, the fresh notebook beside my coffee. I didn't cry. I didn't replay their faces. I just opened my laptop, typed in the title of my next blog post. "When the ones who ignored you start asking where you went." And I wrote, "There's a kind of grief that doesn't come with funerals. It comes when you realize the people you loved only loved your usefulness. And once you stop being useful, you disappear." But I didn't vanish to be cruel. I disappeared so I could reappear for myself. Whole. Unedited. Unapologetically mine. Later that day I received an email from a reader. "Your story gave me courage. I finally said no to my family after years of being the one who held everyone up. I didn't know how much I needed your words until they saved me." I closed my eyes and smiled. Because now, the girl they said wouldn't be missed. She was changing lives. Months passed. I didn't hear from my family again. Not in the loud, performative way they once operated. But sometimes I saw glimpses. A like from my mother, on an anonymous article I wrote. A repost of my quote by my sister on her stories. No credit, but I knew it was mine. And once, I passed my brother in a grocery store. He paused, opened his mouth. But I just smiled, not cold, not cruel. Just free. They told me no one would notice if I disappeared. But when I did, their world got quiet. Their lives got harder. And for the first time, they realized who I was. Not the background. Not the help. Not the weak one. I was the structure. I was the storm and the calm after. I was the girl who walked away, and came back as a woman they'd never get to hold again. Because I didn't leave to be missed. I left to find out who I was when no one was watching. And what I found was enough.